Hey guys! Well, as you know, as I said before, in about a week's time, we're going to do the 10-year anniversary special of Sweet Tasted Cake. We've got everything set up. So I decided to ask Minty to come by over here and do some dental work. She's right now setting up in the next room. What? You don't think that my voice is easy to maintain, do you? I mean, come on. I have to do about 20 voices almost perfect nowadays. Kind of need to make sure I get these vocal cords intact. And that also means making sure my teeth are working. So, for next week, we're going to do a couple of one-shots. I've had a couple that I've been aching to do, and some have been looking really interesting. As a matter of fact, I got two just lined up for you. Let's start off with Pinkie Pie's incredible interplanetary super prank by Cupcakes. We won't do the obvious joke. That has been completely ruined by the internet. Yep. Twice Sparkle's head shot up, eyes wide. A strange thought interrupted her reading and struck terror deep in her heart. Pinkie Pie had been quiet for hours in a library. The unicorn rushed from her room and down the stairs to the main floor. Then a relieved whoosh of air. Pinkie was right where she left her, reading by a lamplight from one of her many open books splayed across the library's largest table. Twilight watched as Pinkie leaned over a book, eyes winking to the side. Then the earth pony shifted one big step to the side, flipped the page to the next book, leaned in close to words. She only seemed to take around 5 seconds per book before moving on to the next. How did you manage to learn anything like that? Twilight asked. By reading the words, silly, Pinkie replied without lifting her head, stepping to the next book in line. The exchange didn't seem to slow her down at all. That's not what I... Twilight shook her head, then stepped closer to the different tiles. History of Equestria, collected tales of Robin Hood and his merry men, Hayes Anatomy, Astrophysical Phenomenon, Vacation on Stalingrad on 3 Faces a Day, and the latest issue of Powerpuff Phillies comic book series. Pinkie, what could you possibly be researching? What's the connection between all these books? Pinkie Pie lifted up her head with a sharp jolt. She walked to the center of the room and pulled a wooden pipe out from somewhere. Pranks, my good Sparkle! She popped the pipe into her snout, then began pacing back and forth with a soft clip cup of her hose. Bubbles swirled above her head, climbing to pop in the air. Pranks, Twilight repeated, then checked several more of the books. But none of these are joke books. Pinkie waved her pipe around, sending a few more of the shining ethereal glow streaming into the air. I read all of those! You read all the joke books in the library? Nuh-uh. Pinkie continued pacing, blowing more bubbles. In Equestria. Twilight just stared. But they're no help. I need more than a prank for the big day tomorrow. I can't just pull one pony's leg. Not even if I pull all their legs. No, I need something that'll work on every pony. Every pony. What I need is Piggy stopped pacing and slowly blew a massive bubble. It dislodged from the pipe and floated upward at snail's pace, wobbling. A super prank. The bubble exploded with an audible pop. Twilight didn't reply, hoping Pinkie would finish connecting the dots, or at least explain what the big day tomorrow would be. It was a futile hope, of course. So, now you're reading about Robin Hood and astrophysics because... Pinkie went back to pacing. Granny Pie said that sometimes inspiration comes from the strangest of places. Twilight glanced back at one of the books. Yeah, I bet a prank inspired by dissociative ramifications and sparks is certain to be a real humdinger, she snarled, then yawned to the back of her hoof. Look, Pinkie, it's pretty late. I need to get some rest. Are you gonna be okay alone? But Pinkie was staring at her, stared straight out, snout open, pipe dangling from her lower lip. Inspiration! She yelled, then sent across the room to lift Hayes Anatomy, flipped through the pages rapidly, stopped to scan one particular page for a few seconds, then shot out the door. The book spun twice in midair before it landed neatly on the table. They still have time to figure out what to do. I promise to put away all the books tomorrow. Don't worry. Wait, what's tomorrow? Twilight suddenly remembered to ask, but your pony was already gone. April Fool's, duh! Rainbow Dash shook her head, dropping to the ground near Twilight. Don't they have April Fool's Day, Caroline? The purple unicorn chewed on a warm chunk of croissant, standing at a table outside a chicken corner. She thought back to her days at Caroline, spent almost entirely alone or just with Spike assisting her research. Yes, she replied after swallowing her mouthful of breakfast. But I never celebrated. Spike dropped a bucket of water on me on one year and... Her voice trailed off. You didn't handle it so well? Des asked. Twilight chuckled weakly and took another bite of croissant rather than reply. Don't worry, the Pegasus said with a witty smile. You aren't my prey radar today. Phew, that's a lot off my mind. Unless I just lied to leave you wide open for a prank. The smile on Dash's face didn't change one bit. The last piece of croissant hovered a few inches off Twilight's plate, ready to be delivered to her mouth. But suddenly she was thinking hard. So if you're lying, then I would be careful. But if you're not lying, then I can relax. But if I relax, then that might make you want to prank me because I'll be extra surprised. But... Twilight shook her head and smiled back. And what she halted was a disarming kind of way. Wait, is this the prank? To make me worry all day if I'm going to get pranked? Des's poker's face smile didn't move. Maybe. Unicorn Pony was still trying to deduce a way out of the dilemma, when he heard a shout and laughter from across the street. Both Des and Twilight turned to look, watching Pinkie bounce away from a group of ponies. One of them was laughing while shaking a hump at another pony's back. Pinkie stopped at another group of ponies, who were chatting at the side of the road, interrupting the conversation. Twilight could see that one of them peeved at the first. Pinkie stretched out one of her legs, said something, and a few other ponies shook their heads. Speeding back, Pinkie spoke again, and then the others. And then Pinkie again with something louder and high-pitched, while bouncing off at high speed, shooed away by the laughter and even more shaking heads. Ooh, what's she up to? Rainbow Dash asked. I haven't the foggiest. Here she comes. Pinkie bounced up to the deal and grinned. Good morning, friendly friends! Hello, Pinkie Pie, Twilight replied, with slow worry. How did you two sleep? Pinkie asked. Good, Rainbow replied, glancing over at Twilight, who just shrugged. That's great! I was up all night researching the Twilights, Pinkie said to Rainbow. Yeah? Uh-huh. And all stuff and things. And I especially told you things. In Twilight, do you know what I found? What? Pinkie slowly stretched her front hoof over her head, closing her eyes as she opened her mouth in a huge, gaping yawn. Then she ended with a smack of her lips, rubbing the back of her hoof at her eyes. The yawns are contagious. Sure enough, Twilight and Jess found themselves in the middle of a sympathetic yawn, triggered by Pinkies, and even though they knew they couldn't stop themselves. All you had to do is see somebody yawn. Yeah. Pinkie continued. Twilight's yawn deepened, and Jess started another one, shaking her head. Oh. I hear one. Twilight's little tears stepped out, coming to her eyes as she yawned again. Dash butted in with, Pinkie, you... Or you just talk about yawning, or sing about yawning, or performing an entire musical number about yawning. You just can't stop yawning. Then to prove her own point, Pinkie... and again. Singing it out with a giggle at the end as he saw Rainbow and Twilight caught mid-yawn again. Means you yawn, April Fools, Pinkie announced with a huge grin. Ugh. I think I need a nap, Rainbow muttered, taking off with slow lethargic flap of her wings. Twilight shook her head to clear it, ran tears from her eyes with the back of her hoof. You got me, Pinkie, Twilight admitted, then chuckled. Rainbow too, but what makes this a super prank? Well, two things. Look! Pinkie twined towards the street. One of the ponies Pinkie had previously pranked walked up to a group and spoke to them. They gave a huge exaggerated yawn that set every pony off there as changed reaction to yawns. Even Twilight stopped on the tiny one as he watched. It's spreading like yawn fire! Okay, what's the second? Twilight asked. Remember when I said I'd work on every pony? Yes. Pinkie leaned in close and whispered, eyes glinting deviously. Even just reading about yawning can make you yawn. She's right! Blast it! She got the two of us! Right while we're doing the library. Right. Moving on to this next fic before I lose my mind. Oh, and as a side note, if any of you people reading that last chapter yawned, or listen to me speaking this and you guys yawned, put that down in the comments. I'm curious as how much it affected you. Meanwhile, one last fic before Minty goes out my teeth. Luna visits the dentist by Nitrox. Only chapter. Open wide and say ah. The sun shone brightly across the lands of Equestria. Birds sang from the trees dotted along the streets of Camelot. Ponies could be seen coming and going from various shops among the upper district. Foals trailed after their parents, asking for various toys and treats that they spied through the shop windows. All in all, it was a fairly common day for the citizens of Equestria's shining capital. However, one building did manage to catch the attention of passers-by. It was not a building's flashy sign or wares that drew everybody's attention, but rather the ominous black storm cloud that was perched directly atop it. Occasionally, it would rumble with a burst of thunder. None of the city's Pinkies placed it there, nor could they manage to move the threatening cloud out of the city. Foals stood beneath their parents, eager for any protection they could garner from their malicious structure. The pre-existing fear of this establishment served as a foundation for nightmares that the occupants of civility could inflict. Molly? Was one foal, her words coming secretly as she looked up at the mirror she trusted above all others. Do we have to visit Dr. Colgate today? Inside the dentist's office, Princess Celestia and Princess Luna sat in the waiting room. Luna had her hooves crossed before her, with her head resting on them. A scowl etched onto her features as she glared at the far wall. Celestia picked up a copy of Hoofbeat that sat on one of the tables and was quietly reading it while munching on a banana. Tia, remind us again why thou hast dragged us here, in the middle of the day, no less. The elder princess gave a soft sigh before entering her sister, not bothering to look away from her magazine. I told you, Luna, the dentist has to check your teeth. You've been gone for 1,000 years. Who knows what all that time munching on moonrise has done to your smile? Luna's scowl deepened as righteous fury filled her. Thunder could be heard from outside as the princess of the night turned her gaze on her sister. If looks could kill, spiders would have crawled out from Celestia's ears and devoured her on the spot. As it was, she struck glaring at Celestia, the elder princess's smirk practically going through her magazine. Our teeth are just fine, Tia. We never needed to have our teeth inspected in the past. Why the sudden urgency? Many advances have been made in the field of oral hygiene over the few centuries, Luna. To prevent tooth decay and gum disease, one must visit a dentist to prevent such problems before they can set in. Celestia answered in a long-suffering tone, having been through this conversation at least once a week for the past month leading up to this appointment. But why would a doctor even want to work on somebody's mouth? It's so unclean. Well, Luna, somebody has to do it. Besides, that's their special talent, and who are we to judge? Just as Luna opened her mouth to voice another complaint, a bubbly voice piped up from the doorway that led to the dentist's proper. Princess Luna, you can come on back. Giving one last groan, Luna rose from her seat and followed the assistant back. Very well. The sooner we get started, the sooner we can leave this place. Whatever Princess Luna had been preparing herself for mentally, it certainly wasn't what she had put through to the next. The dental assistant set Luna down and told her to open and close her mouth. Each time she did so, a chunk of plastic was stuffed into the orifice, followed by a quick flash of magic from the unicorn. Shortly afterwards, she was whisked off into another room and told to sit down and wait for the doctor. As he sat in the office and looked around, she couldn't help but notice some of the things here. On one of the desks sat what appeared to be a mold of a pony's top and bottom jaw, though half of it appeared to be black and rotted. The princess cringed at the thought of that in somebody's mouth and turned away, only to come face to face with an even more horrifying display. Before her sat what appeared to be tools of the trade, not for one in a medical profession, but for those whose special talent resided in causing untold amounts of pain. The princess's eyes shrank to pinpricks, as she could only imagine what Polly could do with such devices. In that split second, her thoughts ran wild. Luna came to one simple conclusion. Oh, box this! Just as he was about to rise from the chair and make a break for freedom, a periwinkle mare with two-tone white and blue mane came in and stood beside the terrified princess.
Good afternoon, Princess Luna. It's truly an honor to get to work on the royal mouth. I am Dr. Colgate.
Luna extended a slightly shaking hoof to the grinning mare, unable to help but notice the unicorn's flawless smile, even through her fear of impending treatment.
A pleasure to meet thee, daughter, but... Oh, please, Princess.
The unicorn interrupted, completely oblivious to the brief inadequate.
Just call me Colgate.
Very well, Colgate. But really, our mouth feels fine. We shouldn't take up any more of thy time. Princess Luna tried to lift herself from the chair, only to find Colgate putting a hoof on her shoulder and pressing her back down. Why, is she the bold one? Luna thought as she looked at the smiling dentist.
Nonsense, Princess. Every pony needs to have their teeth checked regularly. You've been gone for 1,000 years. You're overdue. Now, don't worry. I know every pony makes the dentist out to be a monster akin to Nightmare Moon.
As soon as those words were uttered, both of her foreheads started to cover it as the blood drained from her face. Luna's eyes narrowed as the dentist as he attempted to stammer out apology.
Oh, goddess! I'm so sorry, Princess. It was a slip of the tongue. I just...
The blue mare was promptly silenced by a hoof over her mouth, courtesy of the princess. Luna simply sighed as she removed it and stared down her lap. Be still, Colgate. We know thou meant no offence with thy comment. Still, we would appreciate if thou could mind thy tongue in the future.
Colgate smiled weakly at the princess and nodded. Oh, of course, Princess. So we can start?
We suppose, Luna answered with a sigh.
Very often. How often would you say you brush?
Brush what? Luna asked, cocking her teeth to the side.
Why, your teeth, of course. Surely you didn't think I meant your mane,
Colgate said with a good-natured laugh. Why would we need to brush them? Colgate stopped laughing at this and set her gaze upon the princess. Her attention now set to full dentist mode.
To keep them clean and to give you fresh breath, of course.
Recognition washed over Luna's features upon hearing this. Oh! Well, for that, we drink tea at night, and in the mornings a bit of white wine, followed by a few mint leaves. Colgate could feel her eye beginning to twitch at the mention of such outdated practices.
That's, nice, Princess. How often would you say you floss?
Pray tell, what is floss? The dentist's jaw flopped open, and it shut a few times as he attempted to formulate her disjointed thoughts into a coherent whole. After a few moments, Colgate admitted defeat in the endeavor and walked back into the hall without a word. Once out of the room, the dentist placed the hoof gently against her forehead and took a few calming breaths.
Relax, Colgate. You did this before. Just treat the princess the same as any other foal who doesn't know any better. A foal that hasn't brushed her teeth once in over a millennium.
Colgate shuddered at such a thought. Whatever awaited within that treatment room, she knew immediately she wasn't going to be pleasant. Hell, given the options, he'd rather give Twilight Sparkle another root canal.
No! I am Colgate Fluorine Minuet, and if Princess Luna needs her teeth cleaned, then I am the pony for the job. Pearly White, cancel the rest of my appointments today. I have a royal mouth to clean.
The dentist's assistant / receptionist gave a mock salute before rushing off. Colgate turned back to the princess of the night, who was now trying to appear as small as possible, in a futile attempt to shield herself from the unicorn's undermined gaze.
All right, Princess. Open your wine and say ah.
Celestia sat patiently in the waiting room, taking note of the white unicorn's hurried motions behind the desk, though not putting any real thought towards her motives. Just as quickly as she come, a note appeared on the desk that, as he had disappeared once more into the back. A quick force of magic, the note floated across the room and in front of Celestia's curious gaze. Our sincerest apologies, but due to circumstances beyond our control, all appointments for today will have to be canceled. If we are still here tomorrow, please come back to reschedule at your convenience. We appreciate your patronage and hope that you have a wonderful day. Colgate's Bright Whites. Before Celestia had a chance to react to the oddity in the message, a crack of lightning went out directly outside. Pow! So great was her surprise that the note went sliding back across the room at such speed it blew a number of papers from the assistant's desk into the air. At the same moment, a shriek of unadulterated pain issued from the back of the room. Daring to hope for the best, Celestia walked across the room and opened the door, only to be assaulted with a wall of sound. "What is thou trying to do? Pull our teeth out?"
"Princess, I'm just scraping off all the plaque and tartar that built up around your gums. Don't even get me started on the orthodontia we're going to have to do to fix that overbite. Pearly, get me the Cavatron. We'll be lucky if we can save them all.
"Keep thy hooves out of the roof!"
Pearly, try to keep her head still. I can't work with she's dancing all over the place like this.
"On it, boss!" Having heard enough, Celestia strode into the eye of the storm. Taking a moment to appreciate the situation, she could see that Luna was truly peering up a fight for two frazzled unicorns. Implements had been tossed across the room, embedded in the wall behind Colgate. Pearly seemed to have a host-sized bruise showing her cheek through her white coat. Celestia winced at the scene as she approached the dentist from the chair behind and looked down at her raised sibling. The look upon the eldest princess's face was one of equal parts pity and disappointment that was only met with rage and indignation.
Princess Celestia, I'm sorry for any disturb...
Colgate was silenced with a simple wave of Celestia's gold-plated hoof and a smile.
It's no fault of yours, I'm sure. I'm aware that Princess Luna can be quite stubborn when it comes to her health. If it would help, I can restrain her in her magic to allow you both to work effectively.
Too stunned at the offer to properly respond, both dental professionals simply nodded in agreement with their beloved ruler. As the unicorns turned back towards their patient, a silent glance passed between the mares, thanking each other for years of service and employment together. At the mention of her sister's willingness to aid her tormentors, Luna's visage took a dismal emotion. Betrayal. The nightmare's eyes narrowed upon her sister's ever-composed features and swore to her natural revenge for such a bleeding breach of bonds of sisterhood. "You can try, sister. You can try." Having been given the afternoon to themselves, Honor Bound and Razor's Edge sat in their barracks, with a stack of cards between them. Each pony intently staring down each other. While being personal guards to Celestia and Luna have generally involved staying close in case of trouble, Princess Celestia told them to take the afternoon to themselves.
You know how much Luna and I appreciate your unwavering loyalty and dedicated service to the crown. However, I sincerely doubt we'll be needing an armed escort for such a menial errand. I mean, we're just going to get Luna's teeth cleaned. How much trouble could we really get into?
It was only by a sheer act of providence that Princess Celestia had her muzzle buried in a scroll, detailing some trade agreement or another. And since she was unaware of the armor hoof that Armbound had shoved reverently to Razor's Edge's mouth, as the charcoal Pegasus prepared to answer the princess's rhetorical question.
"Of course, Your Majesty. If you do have need of us, we're always at the ready."
Armbound gave a small nod in lieu of a proper bow in his response. Working as closely as he did to the princesses, it was rare that he observed all the proper etiquette, both for the princess's sake as well as their own efficiency. Upon retrieving his hoof from his partner's mouth and departing Celestia's study, Razor's Edge stuck his tongue out and proceeded to rub on his fifth leg.
"Do you mind just using your magic for that next time, Your Honor? As much as I love having your hoof stuffed in my mouth, Lemon Pulse doesn't exactly have the best aftertaste."
Armbound simply rolled his eyes as he took up post outside Celestia's door once more.
"Maybe if you think before opening your mouth, Razor, you would have had well be acquainted with it."
Razor's Edge gave a decisive snort in response. Taking up the mantle of a stone-faced guard once more, the Pegasus blew off a lock of gray mane out of his eyes before placing the helm on top of his head. Armbound followed suit with a moment later, his white coat and horn practically exposed while the two blue manes stuck out of his back of his own helm. The unicorn was a picture of indifference, a model of a perfect guard, pinnacle of perfection, for all 4 seconds.
"So, Honor, you gonna take over under this time?"
Laying his third hand in a row, Armbound grinned at his partner and began to shuffle the cards once more. Glanced up at the clock on the wall, his grin grew just a little more satisfied.
"I told you those two could go more than an hour without needing us. I'm telling you, Razor, the princesses only keep us on to keep the noble ponies at bay."
Pegasus chuckled at his partner's assertion, taking a glance up at the clock as well.
"You still got 10 minutes, Honor. I'm just hoping that they make it so you don't have to pay me those 50 bits.
Armbound rolled his eyes as he began dealing the playing cards once more.
For crying out loud, Razor! They're goddesses. They could just, I don't know, smash their enemies with the sun or something they want to. Don't you think they could get by for 5? Slam!
Holybound! Razor sense! There you are!
Standing in the doorway was a nobly out of his breath squire, his white mane in complete disarray as it rested against his pale blue coat. Razor's Edge caught his eyebrow at his partner before settling his gaze on the interloper at a rare moment of peace when it felt like times of a castle gone mad. Hoping to chase off the colt, who appeared to be no more than a teen, the Pegasus put out his most intimidating, soul-crushing glare, stared at the edge of the pony's eyes. Given his fairly laid-back attitude, one would never expect that Razor's Edge could carry a facade more intimidating than a thinly veiled contempt. However, when one's job consists of standing still as a statue for hours on end, it allows for a ample time to refine one's glare to a true force of nature.
You best better have a damn good reason for kicking it out the door, boy.
The colt called audibly, his eyes doubling its size as his irises shrank into pinpricks. Color seemed to leak out of his coat entirely as he paled and shook beneath the guard's deathly gaze. If anyone were to see him, they could swear he was staring into the eyes of Tartarus itself. Just as Lucas as the colt were to run for his life, he took a breath and closed his eyes, ready to carry out his task, even if it meant bringing down the wrath of the royal guard upon him.
This is the princess is in danger. They're down in the upper quarter shopping district. Please hurry.
The reaction that came next was honestly the last thing the colt could have expected for such news. Not hearing any sounds that implied his impending doom, the squire peeked open an eye to see if he would survive the day or not. Razor Edge, not only a moment it seemed to have been trying to murder the boy with his eyes alone, now held his hoof in his mouth in a poor attempt to stifle his laughter, while watching his partner honor-bound, who had been silent up until now, had developed a noticeable twitch in one eye, and was sitting stock still. There were moments the unicorn's guard appeared found shifted from shock to frustration and sheer and utter disbelief. Another thought, Honor Brown's horn ignited, grabbed the table before using both his magic and hose to flip it, and sending it crashing into the far wall where it splintered on impact.
Oh, come on!
After a few minutes to compose themselves and don their armor and weapons, the two guards took off at full gallop to aid their beloved diarchs. As they ran, Honor-bound kept to his royal guard facades, keeping silent as the grave while Razorhead tried to make light of the situation to get a rise out of his partner.
Did you see that cold face? That's slow. I thought he was going ready to piss himself.
Honor-bound turned down the alley, his Pegasus partner hot on his heels as they raced down towards the ominous thundercloud that marked their destination. The unicorn maintained his silence for another 20 yards before cracking a grin and responding.
I gotta admit, that was a mighty terrifying stare you gave him.
Honor-bound said with a slight pant as he burst into another street, the sun now starting to disappear behind a massive cloud formation.
Where'd you learn to get so intimidating anyway?
You try spending your waking hours protecting a pony whose special talent is bringing about the dark of the night and tell me it doesn't rub off on you. Honor-bound let out a laugh as part of his claims.
Well, you should definitely put that to use next time we have to deal with Prince
Blueblood. It was right about then that two guards rounded the corner and came to face with the building that will haunt their dreams for years to come. The guards both stared in awe at the transformation that had laid claim to what once been called the premier shopping destination in all of Equestria. The streets were bare, windows were boarded, doors locked and barred, and all the animals that had once called the streets and shrubs the city home were now huddled in fear in a certain canary-coated Maris's cottage. The dentist's office was shrouded in the blackest of shadows. The building itself appeared as if it wanted them to come closer, as to devour their very soul. The guards could only look on in wonder, curiosity, and just a faint inkling of fear. Oh, who they're kidding. Those two were bucking horrified!
So, what do you think, Ranger? A PKE surge so powerful it caused a fourfold cost grip?
No chance, Your Honor. I recognize that magic anywhere. I see that Luna's gone and turned the dentist's office into a portal into a realm of nightmares.
Was it already one before Luna went there?
The guards shared an awkward laugh for a moment, before the front door of the building burst open, and a blue-coated unicorn mare came flying out, landing at the 2 feet of the guards.
Ma'am, are you alright? What's happening there?
Colgate gave a cough before looking up at the two guards, her eyes full of fear and terror too terrible to mention.
We were just starting to put on Luna's braces. Then all the tires broke loose. It went dark and cold for a while. Then it felt as if I was living inside my own nightmares. But they were all real! So many spiders and the clouds! I know I have a job to do, but it was so horrible! The guard stared a worried look for a moment, before looking back down at the quivering mare. Armbrown placed a hoof at the mare's shoulder and gave it a gentle rub. It seemed to calm her nerves somewhat. So occupied were they, that the ponies noticed a shout creeping across the ground towards Colgate's hind legs.
It's all right, miss. We're here now, and we're going to make sure that you're safe.
Thank you, sirs. If I could just get back to Princess Luna, I believe I can finish installing your orthodontia, and this whole ordeal will be over. If you could just back to her, I could... Ah! Quick as a whip, the shadow of the office and grabbed the unsuspecting unicorn, dragged her back to the doorway. At the last second, her blue hose grabbed the doorway and held out the inevitable. Staring straight at the guards, she called out what might have been her final words. Tell my daughter, don't forget the floss! As the shadows pulled her back into her realm, honor-bound erasers stayed sights on into the abyss that their duty called upon them to charge into. Ready to give their lives for their princesses and country. Well, honor-bound, I've got nothing. What about you?
Sorry, Razor. I'm terrified beyond the capacity for rational thought.
Well then, I was going to piss themselves by strength tonight. Before his partner could get another word in edgewise, Razor's Edge attempted his fiercest battle cry as he charged headlong for the portal that his princesses lay beyond, his swing blades clanting into lightning that flashed overhead. In truth, his battle cry came out as more of a terrified yelp that was cut out the instant he crossed the threshold. Never one to let his friend face danger and certain doom alone, Honorbound lived up to his name and charged after his friend. Magic at the ready, and polearm gripped firmly his magical aura. Ponies of all shapes and sizes watched as the two brave knights of the Royal Guard charged into the foreboding building, risking their own lives for princess and country. As they watched, they waited. From the outside, lightning flashes and the occasional scream were the only indication there was still activity within. They waited and waited and waited some more. Pinkie Pie even showed up at one point with a lawn chair and a bag of popcorn. Just as the sun was approaching the horizon, the screams of horror had faded away, and the thunderhead that loomed overhead began to dissipate. The front door slowly creaked open, revealing an annoyed Princess Celestia, followed by an absolutely feminine Princess Luna. Had any mortal creature been unfortunate enough to receive the glare that was currently directed towards her dear sister, they would have turned to stone on the spot. Really, Linda? Now, was that so bad? Yes! Those ponies have the hooves inside our mouth! What more? They have the tussle full of metal torches to fight through our teeth! Now suddenly torment us to no end! And thou aided them! How couldst thou, Celestia? Does the bonds of sisterhood mean nothing? The little diarch gave her a small whimper, though whether it was caused by the pain in her mouth or that of her heart, it was impossible to say. Celestia gave a weary sigh and placed a hoof on her forehead, as she halted to look at her sister, while she whined and moaned the entire way back to the castle. For the 1000th time, Luna, it's not a torture device. It's gonna pull your teeth and straighten them, so that I don't have to look at that gap in your teeth and hear you whistle when you talk anymore. Aha! Pulling teeth! We knew it. This is a torture device! Celestia immediately ground as she spread her wings and took off back towards the castle, Luna following close behind. Every pony watched from behind the curtains and storefronts, waiting to see if their heroes would emerge victorious from the bowels of the realm of shadows and nightmares. Moments of tense anxiety passed as every pony watched with bated breath, fearing the worst. Suddenly, a slime-covered unicorn came staggering out of the doorway, leaning against his polearm for support. A moment later, a Pegasus lit down after him, wings dragging across the ground, leaving furrows where his wing blades cut into the dirt. Their armor was battered and dented. Patches of their coats appeared sins, and Armbound's tail had nearly been removed entirely. Razor's Edge was favoring his left foreleg. A small trickle of blood could be seen dripping from underneath his armor. Ever so slowly, the windows and doorways opened to reveal the ponies that had been sheltering within. The street was silent for a span of a few moments before a small cheer went up from somewhere within the crowd. Within moments, all the stores had thrown their doors open as ponies rushed out to meet their saviors. The sound of cheering ponies stomping hooves filled the air around the guards. It was almost too much to take in before a voice from behind drew every pony's attention. Ironbound!
Pearly White launched out of the doorway, slammed into the unsuspecting guard, driving both into the ground. Dental Sister threw her forelegs around the unicorn's neck and began kissing him over and over. You saved my life! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! As Razor's Edge watched his slime-coated partner, an extremely grateful damsel formerly in distress, he couldn't help but smirk as he watched his friend flounder helplessly against the assault. Arabelle was normally one to go home alone when they went out together, so the Pegasus was happy to see his friend finally get some for once. Ahem. Razor has turned his head at the sound of Polly clearing his throat behind him. Finding Colgate standing there with a smile of her own, she leaned lightly against the doorway of her office. Thank you, Razor's Edge, ma'am. Colgate gave a slight chuckle at his name, glancing to the blade still attached to his wings before continuing. Razor's Edge, you and your partner were both brave in there. While not one to go about bragging about his accomplishments over others, Razor's Edge had to admit it was nice to be appreciated for his work. Just doing our doing, ma'am. The dentist giggled and rolled her eyes. I'll stop with all that man nonsense. I can't be that much older than you. Now shut up and kiss me! Without another word, Colgate took hold of Razor's Edge's breastplate and pulled it in for a passionate fire kiss. In a few moments, the sapphire pony pulled away, smiled thoughtfully at her guard, and gave her a kiss a light lick. Slight spacing issues with the upper bicuspids, but we can fix that. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to anybody else, but unbeknownst to us, the Royal Pale Sisters were meandering through the castle towards Luna's chambers. It had been a long, trying day for the both of them. All they wanted to do was to go to sleep or put it behind them. Before long, they arrived at the ornate doorway to the Lunar Diarist's royal bedchambers. The sisters exclaimed a few pleasantries before Luna cast her doors wide, retreated to her sanctuary. Just as she was about to seal her doors for the evening, Princess Celestia called out to her beloved sister. Oh, don't forget, Luna. Tomorrow, you have your appointment with the gynecologist. I can't remember a good faith role. Properly refuse some of these things like this. Oh. You know, my biggest issue is that sometimes you read these one-shots and you realize these could have been fun little episodes on their own on the series. Come on. Who wouldn't want to see a canon dentist episode? As for me, I have no worries. I mean, it's only been about 6 months since the last time I ever went to the dentist. It's been what? Colgate! I didn't realize you were listening to the studio. I was. And how long has it been since you brushed your teeth? 6 months. That's it. You're coming with me. No! Help! Help me! Trixie! Sorry, but it could have been Trixie. No! Brushie. Come and brush your teeth.